Hello everybody, my name is Troublemaker, and it's Friday, which means we'll be having some more Wargame action. Today we have a NATO versus NATO match. The first player's name is Tommoscomia. I'm wondering if this is a Tomoyo, yeah, could be. But Tommoscomia, he's one of the top players in the world, does very, very well for himself, and his opponent was top 16 maybe for the Wargame Cup. He was Lonfield, and looks like he signed up with the WTF clan. So this is a fairly high level match between two great opponents. I will be doing matches every single week, and this week I have two. This one and one from some newer players to the game. And looks like we're going to see Lonfield rallying quite a bit of infantry. Double martyr rolling twos to cover his AA, and a little bit of recon. And his opponent, Tommoscomia. It's a messed up name. Also gonna go for a nice bit of infantry. Different decks completely, obviously, and actually opting to use some infantry AA as well. And why is his deck choice so tiny, I wonder? In fact, he's almost got entirely... Oh, here's why. The M1A1 Abrams. That would be why. It's a very, very big, powerful tank. Very hard to kill with a lot of these opening units that Lonfield has chosen to go for. And looks like you can see this nice general spread of units from Lonfield, and from his opponent, roughly the same thing. Wanting to cover multiple directions so that flanks will not devastate this main basin. And note, Tommoscomia has completely left his command isolated. And we're seeing here that, a 3-command strategy from Lonfield actually, which could be devastating for Lonfield because he might be overcommitted to points here. It's hard to say. And a little bit of weakness here. He's leaving this command very, very open. This command very, very open. But in a world of aircraft, you can do all this stuff as long as you have spotters for all directions, and that's the big key. You can leave this command very open as long as you have a spotter for this little corner here. So let's say if Lonfield was to sneak across here, this rock divide over here, and land on top of this, he could take it hypothetically, but if there's a spotter here, a jet fighter could take that out. So here comes our opening engagement. We see there is a little bit of napalm spread on the field, and this causes Lonfield to in fact push back a bit, spread out, and try and find a different angle to engage this. Now this town becomes very, very important because it's a huge access point to multiple bases. And generally speaking on this map, this middle location becomes very important because it links together all these bases. So we're seeing the Yaugers coming against the US Marines, which are in a good location. We'll be gaining the extra bonus armor off from these buildings, from being fortified in the buildings, and this could be just a very heavy loss for Lonfield, as Tommoscomia, which is not Tomoyo, is just completely annihilating the armies. And here comes the aircraft, is exactly what I was talking about, the ability to do this, but whoa, we have a recon from Lonfield just sneaking around the side. I wonder what he's going to do with this. Maybe take out this command member. This is something not a lot of people are really expecting, and Lonfield was completely unable to capture this middle location, and is forced to pull back his martyr rolling too, and he's really lost most of his forces, so now he's really waiting and hoping that Tommoscomia doesn't actually push forward, because he's in trouble otherwise. And it was actually a little bit greedy for Lonfield to actually double expand and push forward with his infantry. The risk did not pay off, and now the question is, will this risk pay off? This is a really interesting choice. I've done this a few times myself. You just have to scale all along the side, all the way to the back, and we're seeing from Tommoscomia is going to put out another command. This is pretty common in the high ranks. You'll want to make sure to secure your third base, so that the opponent's not, just in case the opponent's rushing, and then rally out your command after. And these commands here cost about 130. They have a little bit of armor on them, makes them very worthwhile compared to these ones. I'll show you the exact same one, but yeah, they become very cheap, very effective, very easy, and by getting this 9 points per 3 seconds, it will put Tommoscomia in a position where he has a massive advantage very, very soon. Right now he's rallying out some of these Bradley FBs with infantry and then the Humvees. Okay, so we're going to see, I think what we're probably going to see from Tommoscomia is a sectioning off of infantry across this middle location, which is very, very important, as I said, just because of this quick route into all the bases, and possibly a slow push up. Now it looks like Lonfield's completely forgotten about the master plan, the sneaky master plan. And of course with this, good tip for newer players, you can right click it here, hold the shift key, right click, and that will make it move along the edges. The shift key is a Q command for queuing commands, and it's very good and very effective. So looking at the Lonfield camera, his coverage is not very good. The Tommoscomia camera, equally not as good. Both players playing in the dark, and that would be why Tommoscomia is not looking to just go rickroll as it is Lonfield right now. Lonfield trying to rally in these infantry. Infantry, of course, are one of these units that if a person makes a fundamental mistake with them, as in running infantry into a fortified infantry like Lonfield did, it can really change the course of the battle. And keep in mind, Tommoscomia is only 150 points ahead, so tons of room for Lonfield to come forward and take a win here. So we're in the lull of the action. We're taking a little bit of a speed up here, as it looks like we see a Yago commando, not quite able to reach this area here, and really just being forced into the woods location here. Now you can see Tommoscomia will be slowly pushing this forward, just opting to get lots of infantry, max out that infantry count, and just maintain control of this area. Now because artillery are not particularly great in Wargame AirLand battle, this tactic is very, very viable, and they'll be pushing these lines forward consistently. This is a huge weakness of the map right here. Realistically, if Lonfield wanted to do some crazy damage, he could have brought some helicopters here with this. And here comes a little bit of a mistake. He's not climbing the cliff. Will he get caught is the question. In very close range here, but no, he will not in fact see this. Oh my god, how is he not seeing this? He does not see the helicopter yet. Looks like some US Marines will run into a lot of Jagers and Yago commandos, which seems are very heavy tank invested. Now there are some Rangers here, so they are now spotting, and the Fernspire is moving to position. This is unfortunately a little bit ill-timed now, because all the time lost by not moving it has caused a great response from Tommoscomia, who is now realizing like, oh, there's actually a full flank here I'm not covering. It's this mountain cliff, a very pertinent feature to this map. And note, there is a mountain cliff over here too, so both players can do this exact same tactic of rushing around the side to get the very isolated command. And both players in fact reinforce their commands with units, so that flank is now covered once again. We have a Yago command here. Is it Yago? Yugd commando, picking off at this M1 Abrams. M1 Abrams pulls back at 50% health after taking a lot of hits from this anti-tank weapon. And now we have a traditional standoff, and neither player can really do anything of much use, and both players have pretty good coverage everywhere. There are a few exceptions, obviously. There is a few extra recon infantry for Lonfield in some pretty weird locations, but for the most part the border is right here. These French bears can die pretty quickly, and now we're going to see the result of all this work. Will it pay out? I don't think it will, of course. These are 10 Rangers versus 5 Fernspires, so there's not a lot of hope for the Fernspire squad in winning this. And of course the hope is this works against players of all skill levels. You bring your recon units around the bank here, hit the command armor, and this is a good meta game position for command armor, all the way in the back, crevicing to the side. You don't want to have in the woods here because people will artillery shell that location, so you usually put them you know, in the back, not forward facing, in one of these corners here. And that's just a great location for these French players to hit. And so here comes the big deciding engagement. Will Lonfield get away with this? Now, who will see the other first is also a question. You can't really climb these mountains as far as I know, but it looks like the French pair are doing it anyway. Learn something new every day. And actually going to completely bypass. Interesting. You definitely learn something new every day. Lonfield teaching us how to play. Pretty sure it's these cliffs they won't let you. These little hills, it seems is fine. And a little engagement over here. Oh, the Alpha Jet trying to take out some Blood Stingers. Not exactly the best trade happening right there. Actually, there's two Alpha Jets. Blood Stingers not even taking a sliver of damage as the French Bear slowly creeps through the woods to try and get this command tank, or APC. It's a command APC, kind of. And it is in a very sheltered location. A very interesting one, too. A small clip of dense woods completely in the back. Does the other base have this as well? The answer is no, it does not. Maybe like right here would be similar, but no, it's not. These maps, of course, are not mirrors, and they do have imbalances in them. So we have Tommoscomia still rallying, lots of infantry, wanting to push this border as far forward as he can and just maintain a huge defensive line. Of course, he does have a defensive advantage with points, that is, and that will pay off very well for him. And if he loses this base, he's in a lot of trouble, though, because then he'll have no reinforcement points, and that's not good. He'll have to push back a unit. So if Lonfield can backseat his command, he will be in good shape. This French Bear, of course, still undetected. Ooh, an M1A1 Abrams coming up at the exact wrong time for Lonfield. As it looks like Lonfield is preparing to march across, and he sees it. He does in fact see it. M1 Abrams is coming across the field, however, and he might not be able to pull this off. But Lonfield does see it. He's going to be patient. Oh god, here comes a recon, and ooh, just bad timing. The plot was foiled indefinitely, and so now it's going to be up to Lonfield to really come back, because that French Bear cost him quite a bit. That's, you know, a nice expensive recon unit. So we see a little bit of riflemen are going to march forward here. Just Tommoscomia, just trying to hit every single border piece he can, trying to push as far forward as possible. That way when the actual attack comes, he'll be in a good position. And here comes another command armor here for Lonfield, rallying out his fourth into a forward advancing base, which is of course very risky because he doesn't exactly have coverage of this reinforcement point right here. So that is dangerous, and in fact he will start to cover that reinforcement base right away and trying to get a little bit of an econ lead. Here comes a lot of tanks. This is kind of a point that it all boils down to. You've run out of infantry to rally out, and so you have to get these tank destroyers and these big muscle tanks. Lonfield does rally back. Note the use of the reverse command button here to get this Leopard 2A4 out of the way so that it doesn't get destroyed. And he should be rallying in some supply trucks relatively soon to resupply this with health points. These young commandos caught in the open, but still being quite effective, trying to pick off anything they can. Probably wants to get this Eyehawk most desperately. And yes, here comes the Jupiters to try and resupply these vehicles, because the action is now on. Now note these Rangers have still not been detected, and they do provide Tommoscomia with a nice bit of vision. Lonfield not so good on the vision front. And here comes this artillery fire, I believe it is. 3 artilleries trying to break the lines, just hitting with some pretty random spots, but they're pretty well selected spots. At this point in the game, for 22 minutes, we're seeing some pretty saturated fields, and he's just picking off this woods location here, trying to do some points damage. And it's kind of weird that Lonfield still hasn't figured out to really push on this front here to protect his reinforcement. Oh, actually, I spoke too soon. Here he goes. He's pushing on this front here, going to that reinforcement route and that nice flanking route that really has been denied to him because of these Blood Stingers, because of these U.S. Marines, and he's going to go ahead and try and take these towns from Tommoscomia. Will he be successful? That's a different question. Currently 220 point lead for Tommoscomia. He should be able to at least defeat a lot of stingers, and if he can do that, he can get inside the towns and try and actually contest with the US Marines. One Yager will go in, and we're going to see, yes, a nice little town skirmish. This is a really weird thing to watch because, as you can see, you can't really see much. The forces actually sit in the buildings, and currently looks like the Yager has a slight lead and might in fact be able to take this. All while leopards are firing like madmen across the way, trying to pick up any units that they can. This style of play is pretty well predominant right now. Having these sort of large flanks and then just picking up whatever you can, wherever the weak spots are. And he's going to continue that. The US Marines will be eroded, 3 of them left. And here comes 30 more US Marines into the fold, trying to desperately retake this position here. Which of course is very important. Here comes a starfighter. Starfighter going to hit the random jet fighter, just trying to use up his aircraft, of course. Doesn't want to have them sitting idle for too long because you want to keep them active. They're definitely something you want to keep active. The more active you keep them, the more, or should I say safely, the better your score will look. So, looks like we'll see another little Marine skirmish here. US Marines planting about a block away. Ooh, you see some infantry being sent forward and quickly moved back. Just too heavily fortified here, and he's forced to drop off the Yagers into the woods location here. So here's an interesting one. The KPC-70 Killer. What are you, my friend? You are a tank destroyer type. Interesting. So note there's a lot of really expensive vehicles here for Lonfield, who's actually going to go for it. He's actually going to go for it. So here comes the tanks moving in against the M1A1 Abrams, which is the only really dangerous tank being fielded here by Tommoscomia, as the tanks will be rushing across the field. Not too much micro needed right now, not a lot of damage being taken, but he does have a lot of good units. Does he have vision is the question. Does Lonfield see much? He sees absolutely nothing. He's going to have to get very, very close without recon. He's in so much trouble now. Pushing in, he's actually got a chaparral there. That was huge. He's now 110 points behind. And he suddenly stops. All the while we see Yagers picking up at the riflemen, the US Marines. US Marines don't quite have the range at this. The tanks did move forward, did pick up something valuable, and now they're forced to retreat as the Apache, the very expensive Apache, is pushing forward. 155 pointer, of course, can do tons of damage, and you don't want to get hit by that. This would be a good time to bring in those Alpha ones, but the Martyr Roland 2s are getting rolled out 3 at a time. Here comes some infantry pushing to the front. They have the cover of the tanks and tank destroyers. This is totally possible. Here comes another Leopard 1A2 rushing forward to try and take an Abrams. That's a fool's conquest, though. The others are in position trying to rush into this town and take it out. But there are 2 packs of US Marines here and the support of an M1A1 Abrams. And here comes the support of the Leopard 2A4s and the Killer, which was successful in removing 1 of the US Marines, but he hasn't gotten rid of them all, and the Yagers are in fact stunned. We have dual fire from the M1 Abrams, and that could be danger. This town, however, could get cleared out relatively fast, as the really massive tank line of Lonfield just piercing the defenses of Tommoscomia very, very slowly, very, very effectively. And note, this close rally point is really, really advantageous, and there's nothing like it for Tommoscomia. He can only pretty much use what he has fielded. Anything else, he is in danger of losing. We're seeing a massive right click here by Lonfield, who is now in the dark. His infantry did in fact die, but he's going to pick at this M1 Abrams, which is retreating while firing. This is called range micro. It's when you have a unit that is massively at range of the other ones and you try to run it away in hopes of still firing. It, however, does go down, and this makes the game really, really close. I mean, nobody was expecting for Lonfield to be able to pierce this enemy line here. Nobody. And the Apache's moving back in position, wanting to do a little more damage, but he doesn't realize, of course, that so many Martyr Roland 2s have moved in position. This becomes very risky, especially with these 3 rockets going out simultaneously. But whoa, we have some massive artillery barrage getting some great panic damage done, and the Apache's just doing a little bit of skirmishing on the left and right, and pick up whatever it can. And these are very expensive and very potent units. He's just going to pick up these infantry in front. Once again, whatever he can get, and doesn't want to go too close to these murder rolling twos. We have a starfighter in the sky. What will it try and go for? Maybe it'll try and chase down the Apache. This could be a fool's errand for the German plane, as it immediately gets shot down by the Ihawks. And this causes a giant push to come from Lonfield all across a giant battlefield. You can see lots of vehicles being deployed all around the place, and just slowly moving through these wheat fields, trying to find any target at all. Total lack of recon has led him pretty well in the dark, and he can see only a few things in the distance. He can't, of course, see a lot of these infantry in the woods, which are pretty hard to spot anyway. Murder Rolling 2 is not quite in good position to hit this Apache, but one will move up to try and hit it. You just want to move all of them up so fast, just because if there's any kind of infantry in the town here, he's in so much trouble. And this could be the tipping point, honest to God. This could be the point where Tommoscomia just loses it all, because this advance is just becoming very unstoppable. No, this is NATO versus NATO, so this isn't a sign of any kind of like pack dominance and tank pushes. This is just a good old-fashioned heavy NATO tank push. The command armor is actually very, very vulnerable. That could be a huge point of change in the game. And Lonfield's also starting to realize like exactly how fortified these woods are. He's moved in 10 Yaugers and 20 US Marines met him. So that is not good for him at all. To note, there's just so many infantry in these woods right now, it's almost worthwhile to just kind of avoid it completely. And we see the Leopards are moving up. They're in striking distance of some of these vehicles. Note the position of this M1 Abrams. It can actually sideswipe here and get some bonus damage here. But of course, there's so many tanks in this lineup right now that the only thing that Tommoscomia can actually do is retreat. And that is dangerous in and of itself. Kind of a sign that you might be in trouble. And this vehicle does in fact continue to retreat. Doesn't want to lose any vehicles at all. And in the distance we have a different M1 Abrams, and this is a little bit of nice micro. 2 points left on this one, bringing in the higher health points one, but he could lose if he overextends this. Another Leopard 2 A4 coming in, and yeah, looks like this will get knocked out pretty fast. Yes, it does. And another M1 Abrams. This one's close to woods. This one should be able to get away. Yes, 3 points left on that one. Now note, not a lot of damage to the vehicles of Lonfield here. This is one of the advantages of getting these very, very high quality vehicles. But that's all changing with the overextension into the Apache. That's going to cost him arm plus leg. The score's pretty close right now, and you can see Tommoscomia is being very careful with the Apache. He doesn't want to lose it to Murder Roll and 2 fire, but he does want the Murder Roll and 2 to overextend. Wants them to get into range of these tanks, and that's exactly what he's doing. Looks like Lonfield's kind of stuck right now. He doesn't have vision, which is unfortunate. It's causing this tank push to have some holes in it. He's going to continue forward. He's got 3 vehicles left. He's actually massively behind because of all these Leopard losses. It's hard to see with these wonky colors. I understand red-green color blindness, but dear lord. Tornado drops his payload and doesn't do too much damage with that, and we're seeing close to what will be a conclusion to the game. Ends with a tank rush, which is awesome, and he's able to pierce the lines, but unfortunately just wasn't able to do the damage so far. He will need to do another 300 points of damage, which means taking out all of this with just this. Is that possible? Hard to say. The Leopard 2A4 is moving up by itself, trying to wipe out whatever it can. It's actually still pretty close though. As you can see, Lonfield's only 300 points away from the objective. If he can get rid of this M1 Abrams and the command vehicle, he'd be in good shape. But there's just so many invisible riflemen in the woods that are making this very problematic for Lonfield. You can see a few of them, but not most of them. But obviously Tommoscomia has 200 point lead. At this point you'll probably want to rally in aircraft or jets or something along those lines. Here comes the jets, in fact. These are a great choice because you can just plop them down on the enemy, last minute. Try and work your way towards getting this martyr roll and 2 fire. The rifleman actually get moved up to try and use, or should I say, throw away, to try and get rid of a single leopard 2A4, but just leopard 2A4s have such ridiculous armor, it obviously will not work. And he's pulling away these very big expensive units, not wanting to throw away this is a very, very close lead. And the leopard 2A4 is in fact going to go into the woods. This is considered to be a risky behavior, going into the woods at any point, just because of how scary riflemen can become. And note that there's not really much points that Lonfield has needed. He's only needed to get a few points, and he's there. He's at 1909, and he's got the command armor, which is great. Now he's picking apart this M1 Abrams, and this could be the game-winning blow, people. Ooh, there we go. Game. Big victory goes to Lonfield, coming back out of defeat from Tommoscomia. And like I said, guys, I have one more game for the week, and it will be a amateur game with people who are not higher level. So thank you guys for watching, and watch the next video. See you guys later.